So I am from El Salvador. I was born there. There was a civil war, and it was get out or get killed. And so when I think about all of this, story that I come with, and I'm just trying to figure out who I am, very similarly to you, in a school that most people didn't look like me, there's a lot of myself that I put away for a really long time. And in my 30s too, I was at a meeting and I remember that somebody had introduced me as Monsi. And I just got this kind of pang in my gut. And I thought to myself, my name is Montserrat. And it's not Montse Archila, it's Montserrat Archila or Montse Archila. And for so many years, I had gone by Montse because I had a teacher who said, honey, it's just so much easier if we say Montse. And I never liked this name. So I reclaimed my name. And a colleague of mine called me later and she said, people are wondering why you've changed your name. And it was this whole thing. And I thought, because that's my name. And I've been in this place of discovery where I realized that I would like to be acknowledged by my name because that is who I am. And just kind of reflecting on that moment, it's all those years of just trying to process and to land there. It was both painful and also like joy filled at the same time because I felt like something's shifted, something's changing, and I want to embrace it.
Thanks for sharing that. I'm a big believer in the sacredness of our names and the dignity that we can give to each other or return to each other when we learn someone's name and what they want to be called. I think most people understand that. I don't know if this is off topic, but we get into pronouns and people are like, oh, no. Like that's completely different. And if someone is telling you this is who I am, how are we to deny that? To me, equally as sacred as someone's name. It's part of your story, your experience, who you are. And we all share a part of the divine, I believe. A little bit of us is echoed in that when we share our name, now our pronouns.
We are showing up in the shoes and the people that we are and celebrating the inherent worth of every single person, celebrating who they are, celebrating their name, celebrating their identity. I know we're talking today about like Latina Heritage Month, but it's more than that. It's really about just celebrating this beautiful fabric we are all a part of and being able to kind of share those stories and standing in our identity.
Now you said Latina. I feel like people are all confused, called Latina or Hispanic or Latinx or Latino, and it could be all of those things. And I think that feeling of like, this is who I am. Some people don't relate to those at all. I think there's so many nuances to it.
Yeah. And that was something that I was going to, kind of talk us through because there are a lot of different terms as it relates to someone who, is born in a Latin American country or a Latin country. And there's been an emergence of Latinx in part because the Spanish language is masculine, feminine. And so by bringing in a Latinx, then that is somebody maybe who does not identify on the binary as male, female, right? And so there's that. But when we talk to folks that speak Spanish, so, my entire family, your family, that isn't a word or a syllable that we use when we're speaking, where now we're seeing the emergence of Latina because it's something that can be pronounced in all of the different, languages and is also inclusive. And so I think as a society, as a community, we're learning how to be more inclusive, but not just thinking about just the binary male, female, but just how we're more inclusive in general. And that includes language and not necessarily adopting terms that are predominantly used in the US. I think it goes back to that, why the box to check to begin with. I would love to put on a form, my name is Montserrat Archila, Salvadoreña. You know what I mean? And like you said, everyone has different comfort levels with different terms, but as we think about like how we're celebrating these heritages of all of us, there's room for everybody.
And I think back to when my son was born and we were being moved from one of the rooms to the other room. And I think in the elevator, the attending nurse asked for the birth certificate. What do you want to put? I feel like I had a choice, but at the same time, I'm like, what are my choices? And she's like, well, is he Latino? Is he Asian? My wife's Filipino American. We have conversations about identity. Is she Pacific Islander? Is she Asian American? Is she Filipino? And she's all of that. But here is that moment where we're being asked, what is your son? I don't think there was an option for multiple choosing. It was just this moment where you have to choose right now. I'm like, I need a few moments. I asked to clarify, and there was no time or room for clarification.
Your story just took me back. Same with my son, who's biracial also. My husband is Palestinian, Jordanian, There is no
Mm.
Middle Eastern box. I think he
Yeah.
has by default Asian.
Yeah.
So we have a whole generation coming up who are growing up in this age of challenging the boxes and saying, I want to stand in my own shoes, and thinking about the significance of this month. What are your final thoughts, friend?
I just feel incredibly blessed and privileged again to be able to have this conversation during this month. I think
Yeah,
we've come to a place and we have a long way to go,
we do.
but just to be able to celebrate, to not be ashamed of my last name, of who I am. I know my dad didn't have that. I think part of the societal pressures of being a man, of being a Latino, of being an exile, foreigner, stranger in his new homeland, that created a lot of pressures and conflict that would carry into the home. So here I am in 2023 being asked questions of where I come from, of my family, and recognizing the privilege in that, because I know people before me didn't have that. People could care less of where they come from. And yeah, I'm just so grateful for that. And hopeful that my son and daughter will have an opportunity to explore the questions of identity, of where they come from a place of joy, and probably won't be without struggle. But at least our conversations amongst the family of like, I felt that too, son. I felt that too, mija. You're not alone, and your journey is sacred. I'm grateful and hopeful.
I share in your hope for our future. Thank you so much for being so open and sharing today.
Equally grateful. Thank you so much. We walk together.